Good afternoon, everyone. Abel Ohm here. We're on the fourth guitar lesson. As promised, I'm going to show you guys how to use these arpeggio shapes on top of a backing track. Now, learning this technique, you're also going to learn how to play chords. I chose this particular backing track because it has 4 chords and 2 of them you already learned. You already learned how to play the C major and the G major. This backing track has G major, E minor, C major, and D major. And that means it's in the key of G major. I'm going to show you how to play the E minor and the D major. And you'll see that it's simply shifting where you begin those arpeggio shapes on the neck. I'm also going to preface that I'm at work right now. I don't have my wonderful recording equipment that I have at home. So the sound quality on all these videos is not with the intent of sounding like a professional recording. That being said, we're going to dive right in. First thing I'm going to show you is the major pentatonic scale being played over the backing track. And you're going to see why it does not sound as perfect as the arpeggio technique sounds. And it's going to sound unresolved until you hit the notes that are in the arpeggios or in the chords of the key. And it all sounds very complicated, but it's going to be very obvious to your hearing when I play it for you. And you'll see the value of the technique, so you won't be hitting bad notes, okay? Later on, we are going to learn about all of these pentatonic shapes and the diatonic shapes as well, because I want you to know all the tools. But for now, we're teaching you a foundation, so you can find chords, so you can understand how they connect together, and you can make sure you're hitting good notes. And it's much better for you to practice these arpeggio shapes and finding chords than it is to practice scales all day long. That's how I began my guitar journey. Scales, scales, scales. And of course, learning chords is wonderful. You are going to be learning chords, and you should practice those as well as these arpeggio shapes. Okay, without any further ado, let's get started. Alright, so we're going to start with the G major pentatonic, which is this one right here. 2 4 1 4 1 4 1 3 2 4 2 4. And you're going to see that when I'm playing that pentatonic shape, some of the chords sound unresolved because I'm not hitting any of the notes that are in that chord, and your ear wants you to. That's why the pentatonic scale is flawed when it comes to solos. So let me show you what that sounds like when I'm hitting a note that is not resolving that chord. Here you go. Listen to this. Now that one is resolved. I'm hitting the note in the chord. But you can hear before that, I was just kind of floating around waiting for the right note, right? See how it's not really resolving? Now let's see what happens if I play the notes in the different chords, okay? Alright, so you guys saw what it's like if you play the pentatonic and it's unresolved. Now we're going to do the arpeggios. You'll see how every single one resolves, starting with the G. Now the E minor. And the C major. And the D major. Now this is not how you solo. This is not the end-all be-all. We are going to use the pentatonics and the diatonics. I just wanted to let you know, or let you see, for example, why those are flawed. And you should start with the chords and then start with the arpeggios and add in the other notes as you can. Okay guys, we're going to play with a backing track. This backing track is in the key of G major. It has the G major chord, an E minor chord, a C major chord, and a D major chord. So let's just take a quick moment to talk about the locations of those chords and how we're going to utilize them during a solo, okay? And it doesn't have to be a solo. It can also just be general background guitar playing without being boring chords. So again, we're playing G major as the first chord. Now, we already know that the other way to play G major is right here. And the other way to play G major is up here. Now the next chord is E minor. Now you guys also know that our minor pentatonic first position was based off of the E minor, like this. So the E minor is open here. We can also play the E minor right here on the 7th fret. 3, 5, 7. And last but not least, you can play the E minor right. So that's the first E minor, right here. Remember, the second chord starts where the last one ends. So there's an E minor, here's an E minor, and here's an E minor. So when it comes to playing solos, what I'm going to do is probably start right here, show you guys how to play, because I already know that G major's here, and also I already know that E minor is here, right? Now the next chord in this song is a C major. Well, the C major is also right here. Additionally, C major can be played here and down here, because again, that was one of the original open chords that we translated into a bar chord. C major was there, so that means it can be way up here as well. And yes, this is a really fun place to play C major, the arpeggio, not so much the chord. And last but not least on the song, D major. This one, multiple places to play it. The first place I'll show you is right here, because that is close to our G and our C and our E. So that D would be a very easy selection. Another D major is right here. That's based off of the third arpeggio shape. We went from A to B, C, and D, right? And D is right here. We often play it as an open chord, but technically speaking, you can play it as a full bar chord. That's what we learned. It was translated from the C, right? C, up 2 frets, D, right there. All right? So now you know that that is one D option. Another D option is here. Another D option is here. So again, for this song, back for the example, we're going to start right here. I'm going to show you how we can play right here in these basically 4 or 5 frets the whole song, okay? So I know the sound quality is not great, and I apologize for that. I have to wait till I get home to have my actual sound equipment. But right here, we're in the correct position to play the G, the E minor. Here's the C, here's the D. So let's start with the G, okay? Right now that's the E minor playing. I'm sorry, the C major. Here's the D. So if I were to start playing the G, and the E minor, same place right here. C major. And D major. See that? G major. E minor. C major. And D major. Alright, now, that is the starting point. We know that we can play the whole song right here. Well, let's say we got bored with that and we want to start switching it up. So I would be in the idea, what do I do next? Let's see where else I can play this. I can play the G major, the G major right here, right? So I know that's the first shape arpeggio. Now I also said that the E minor can be played right here. And it can be played right here. So what arpeggio shapes do we have? We could do the first one, which is, right? But what I like to do a lot more for the E minor is this one right here. It would start right here on 3, 2, 2, 5, 4, 5, 3, 7. But the open E is the bass note. The first position would be Open, 3, 2, 2, open, 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 3. And if you get really fast at that, it might be sounding great, but I'm much better at doing fingered notes. So I know I can play the G major here, and then I can play the E minor. And then the next chord is the C major. One of the options is right here. The next one is right here. That's for the third position arpeggio. So I would use that one. Right? And then from this position, we're actually in perfect place for a D major. You could do the D major here, and a third major arpeggio shape, but remember, this is where the D major is, and the the second arpeggio shape. So now I can do the whole song in this shape or this shape. Let's see what that sounds like. Okay guys, we're getting ready to come back to the G major. So we're going to start right here on our first arpeggio shape that we learned, like this. Now we're going to go to that E minor. C major. And D major. See that? Let's do it again. G major, first position. Now we're going to the E minor second position, which is... And we'll do the C major, third position. And the D major, second position. Okay, so if you guys are still with me, I'm going to show you now another place to play these chords. We already know that the G major can be played up here. The E minor can be played right here. The C major can be played in the same position. And the D major can be played 2 frets up. Or down here. So let's do a quick little demonstration playing the song up here. And after that, we can go back and forth in the entire neck however we wish. Alright, you guys, we're going to start with the G major right here, okay? Now the E minor, again on the 12th fret. C major, same place. And the D is here, or here. Let's do that again. G major. Ending on that tonic. E minor. Ending on that tonic. C major. Ending on that tonic. And D major. Ending on that tonic. Right? So now you saw how to play this whole song right here, the whole song down here, and the whole song up here. Now, as a guitarist, we get to choose what we want to do. So just like I told you before, I start anywhere I want. And let's start here in the G. Now the E minor is right there, but I want to do a different one, like up here. C's here. I'm going to slide down. And the D. Right? How about that? Here's a G already. And the E minor's already here. The C's already here. And the D major, I like this one again. Last thing before I go, the backing track you're hearing on this recording is from T Guitar Backing Tracks. He has really wonderful backing tracks. I'm going to put the link in the description below so that you may actually practice these arpeggios. So really look at these backing tracks, enjoy them, they're fantastic. Okay, everybody, thank you so much for watching. If you stayed to the end, I really appreciate that. I know this one was a little bit rough around the edges. I went kind of quickly in certain places, and that's because it was under the assumption that you guys have been practicing those different arpeggio positions and transitioning from one to the next and back again. So I didn't necessarily break it down saying this is the first arpeggio shape in major versus the third arpeggio shape in major. I went kind of quick. If you have questions, please comment or email me at rectorarendale@gmail.com. In the next video, I'm going to introduce some pentatonic scales that fit right on top of the arpeggio shapes that you've learned. And we're also going to introduce some new chords, and we find those chords simply by shifting our spot from one fret up or down. So it's really quite simple, and hopefully you'll enjoy it as much as I do. Thanks again for watching. Be well. You know I will. Bye.